Senate President Papio in Aso Rock after a rowdy session suspending the ministerial screening of Festus Keyamo. Atiku Abubakar files new case against Tinubu's presidency in the United States. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke dismisses rumors about increment in civil servants' salary scale. And outside of Nigeria, Senegal's opposition leader Usman Sonko admitted to a hospital. ECOWAS leaders to meet on Thursday over Niger coup after expired deadline. Tonight on Politics HQ, we will be joined by Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, retired, a former spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force, and also Bola Abdullahi, a security expert. Join us from Katsina. We'll also have Adenike Aloba, Program Director, Data Fight, joining us from the nation's capital, Abuja, and Benga Borough. Stay with us. Politics HQ, we'll be right back. Niger Republic, one of Nigeria's most important border neighbours, is currently in the hands of the military, despite oneness by the sub-regional group, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The Nigerian junta has failed to relinquish authority and return the government to democratic leader Mohamed Bazoum. Niger is one of Africa's most strategic countries in the battle against terrorism, but has recently also struggled to contain the advancement of the terrorists. With international interest from France and the United States, the Niger situation further seeks more caution. Caution is the word Nigerian citizens are asking for from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Nigerian president, who is also the ECOWAS chairman. There have been reports of threat from ECOWAS forces to the Nigerian junta that an attack on the current government may be the only feasible solution to restore the government back to democratic order. The National Assembly in Nigeria has also rejected the Nigerian president's request to have a hand in such attacks, and the situation may already demand important alternatives. We've put together a package for you to understand the complexities and the situation in Niger. Happy viewing.
In Niger has announced that it sees severing diplomatic ties with neighboring Nigeria in a major deterioration of relations after Niger's military seized power and arrested President Mohamed Bazoum and other top officials last week, ending Niger's brief period of democratic rule. In cutting ties with Nigeria, Niger is protesting Nigeria's role as the chair of ECOWAS, which has imposed sanctions on the military junta now ruling Niger. The diplomatic role comes at a sensitive time for Nigeria-Niger relations. Under the recently ousted Bazoum administration, Nigeria and Niger had strengthened economic cooperation. Nigeria is Niger's largest trading partner and a major destination for Niger's exports. Nigeria had just completed the construction of a new bridge linking the two countries, intended to boost trade and people-to-people ties. However, Niger's suspension of ties with Nigeria now threatens to derail these efforts, with Nigeria cutting 70% of Niger's electricity, which is purchased from Nigeria.
From the situation report of our people from the market, it's just that everything is under restriction, serious restriction.
All their goods, literally all their goods, go through the Nigerian ports, especially the one in Lagos. So they cannot afford over time to play these diplomatic, jangles that are going on. It cannot happen for too long.
Some observers worry that if not resolved soon, the dispute could worsen and even impact security in the Sahel region.
It will spill over to Nigeria, but not trade, security-wise. If there's a crisis in Niger, there is going to be an influx of people into Nigeria.
Only pray for them so that things will not be out of hand. And the United Nations has to do the right things, because withdrawing aid will not be enough.
Both sides cannot control their borders totally. I'm talking of open border now. I'm talking of 1,500 kilometers of border where you and I can cross. The official borders, you and I can cross as well. For 60 or 90 days, you can stay in Niger without a passport, as long as you are from the ECOWAS country. So the relationships are deep. It's not something we can just destroy like that. They cannot just lie down and say, we prostrate. Nigeria has said something, we're going to go. No, their first action is to react. What will not happen is that at the back door, I mean, on the background, what you and I will not see, negotiations will start.
The junta seem to have the support of Nigerian citizens who believe it's a fight against France, its former colonial ruler.
We think that what is necessary today is to have a win-win partner, not a partner where it's only the West that profits. It's about dignity. That's our problem.
ECOWAS had issued a 7-day ultimatum for the reinstatement of President Bazoum to avoid possible clash with the junta. But putschists in Niger announced they would retaliate immediately in the event of aggression or attempted aggression against their country by ECOWAS. Ni Omni, reporting for News Central Lagos.
Joining me for this discussion is Olale Coefficient, a political analyst. He joins us from Lagos, Nigeria. One welcome to you, Olale Coefficient, and thanks for joining us on PHQ tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's indeed a privilege to be on the show this night once again.
Now, Olale, with the ECOWAS deadline on the junta in Niger to restore constitutional order now expired, what potential immediate consequences do you anticipate for both the putschists and the reinstatement of President Mohamed Bazoum in Niger? How is this going to play out in the next few days?
Well, thank you so much. It's quite unfortunate that the issue of Coup in Niger Republic, carried Nigeria at the forefront. And I tell you, I don't know every president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the very moment. A lot of Nigerians have come out to say that Mr. President shouldn't have issued that threat. Don't forget that President Tinubu is the head of ECOWAS. So we said that ECOWAS leadership isn't ultimatum to Niger, because apparently saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in this regard. But I think I don't believe that even ECOWAS will want to go into leadership has to show strength, and coming as usual is actually the right way to respond, because there is no, if you look at it historically, there is no country that accepts when there is a change in government through coup. People don't look at it with just a levity hand. So there's a need for us, so which ECOWAS has done. But the aftermath of the 7 days ultimatum is yet to be unseen. And I believe and I know that there's a lot of meetings going on at the at the back end, behind the scenes. People talking to leadership of the ECOWAS to tread with caution. Don't forget also this matter has divided, the country has divided globally across, everybody has split their tent. According to what we heard, that the Russians are siding with the Nigerians, and also the West are staying on the side of the ECOWAS. So, it's just like to tell you that I believe there's a lot of partition behind the scenes. I'm sure in the next few days it's going to show us what's going to happen. But I think what might be the likely reaction might be maybe another set of, another set of window opportunity for discussions. You will recollect that recently there was a delegation from Nigeria set up by the ECOWAS of President Tinubu, where the Sultan of Sokoto, some IPA delegation, Abdulsalam Abubakar, to make a trip to Niger Republic and, to broker peace and discuss about releasing the former president and also returning. So the next 2 days is going to be very critical. I don't really know what's in the playbook of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, by extension, the leadership of ECOWAS. But I tell you, it's going to be very interesting the next few days. All hands should be on deck. So it is very hard to predict what might be the outcome. But I believe it's possible we might see another round of ultimatum once again, or another window of discussions in order to broker peace in Niger Republic.
Oladipo, I'd like to bring in our second guest into this discussion, Timothy Iwagu, a political analyst. Now, Timothy, a warm welcome to you. Timothy, the support offered by Burkina Faso, Mali and Guinea, these three West African countries are under military rule, and their support has taken a definitive turn. How might this shift influence the political dynamics and potential military actions threatened by ECOWAS in the region? Because the governments of Guinea, Mali and Burkina Faso, I believe, said that, you know, an attack on Niger would mean an attack on them. What's your take on this?
We can say the situation is precarious, and one thing everybody should know at this point in time is that the leaders of the new military government, if you like, call them coupists, in Burkina Faso, in Niger, and in Mali, and even in Guinea, their position, they are united in their purpose. And that alone has weakened the ECOWAS coalition or whatever, because a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So now, ECOWAS trying to come up with an intervention force. The intervention force at this point is not a matter of going to intimidate those people. They are youngsters. They are relatively young people by their age, grades, and levels across. Their temperament is not the same thing as that of the elderly people who are ruling some of the countries. And for that reason, we expect them to respond. They are going to respond in kind should they be threatened. And I know that the decision to intervene in what is happening in Niger or what has happened in Niger is not to the best interest of the region. All these years we have seen leadership in Africa not taking care of their people. The citizens have suffered, and there's been continuous outcry across the region by citizens. ECOWAS is just a regional bloc. What is ECOWAS actually taking to the citizens? What protection has ECOWAS has never challenged any of the member nation leaders against their misrule and deliberate provocation on the masses. So right now, as it stands, these young officers in the 3 or 4 countries are definitely going to give the people some discomfort. And they're not standing alone in this. All we know is that many years of French domination is gradually crumbling in all these countries. And this is what the Western countries and some of the friends of ECOWAS are trying to make use of ECOWAS at this point. ECOWAS has no reason to engage in any war, and Nigeria is going to carry the load. I have been part of an ECOWAS peace mission.
Thank you, Timothy. I would like to bring in Olaleko at this point. Olaleko Efficient, I'd like to pick up from where Timothy left off. You know, he said Nigeria is going to carry the load and bear the responsibility of this invasion or intervention, military intervention, if it does happen. Now, Laleko, as Nigeria's National Assembly expresses reluctance towards troop deployment, how might this political standoff affect the regional readiness and the larger political strategy of ECOWAS in resolving the crisis? And now that the deadline has expired without, an intervention force in Niger as threatened, do you think the military option is now completely off the table?
Well, like I said earlier, of course you expect the National Assembly to not to allow the decision, the request of President Tinubu to send troops to Niger Republic to go through. Don't forget that Niger Republic has a border with about 19 states in the north, in 19 other states, which are the majority of states in Nigeria. And these are states that have senators at the National Assembly. So if you're going to look at it, it's just not right for the National Assembly to stand on that request. And also, it gave President Bola Tinubu another opportunity to save his face among the friends of Nigeria who are expecting Nigeria as big brothers in West Africa to react. Don't forget that people have talked about the relationship between Nigeria President Tinubu and the French President Macron. People have also discussed about the political interest of France in what play out in the Niger Republic. So, as the West will be looking on to President Tinubu to take a decisive action on the Niger Republic, now you have the excuse to say that I reacted, but my National Assembly didn't think it is in the best interest of the country to go further. So, it therefore President Tinubu to save his face, I actually take a stand. Now, going into what might happen since the ultimatum has elapsed, nobody knows what's going to happen. We don't know what's in the playbook of the president, ECOWAS, and their teams. As we know that the popular opinion is that nobody is ready to. We are not ready to go to war with in Niger. And look at it, even as it stands now, Africa is divided. ECOWAS is also divided. And considering the number of African countries that we talk about, Burkina Faso, we talk about Mali, some of these countries that have military leaders also, we want to everybody will just be. I would like to say it's going to be a battle between the civilian and the civilian ruler and the military ruler, because the military rulers will be looking for to extend their grip around Africa, where also the civilian will always look like if it can happen in this country, we have to put a measure that it doesn't happen here. So I think it's going to cause for a lot of cautions. It's going to cause a lot of political, permutations. Everybody needs to come together, and the ECOWAS will be needing the help of the Western world to actually put pressure on Niger Republic to actually, it might be difficult for them to say that they leave power, allow the former president to come to power, but just to have some kind of discussions. When are you leaving power? What's going to happen? Are you releasing the former president? At the end, we cannot have all the ECOWAS cannot have all the demands. You can't just go in and say, this is what we want, it must happen. No, it has gone beyond that. It's going to be like a deal. You give me this, I give you that. And at the end of the day, we have a center point, both ECOWAS and the Niger Republic, to meet in order for us to have a peace in our regions, peace in Africa, and also peace in the world.
They do need a middle ground. Now, before we begin to wrap up our conversation, I'd like to bring in Timothy. Now, Timothy, the junta's call for domestic unity against external interference carries a renewed urgency post-deadline. We did see visuals from a stadium in Niamey, the capital, yesterday, with thousands and thousands of Nigerians marching and showing solidarity to the ruling junta, the current military government in Niger Republic. How might this narrative influence the local populace and the broader geopolitical calculus? Because, ECOWAS is talking about sending an intervention force, and the people seem to be happy with the military government. What do you make of this?
What I make of this is that it is ridiculous, first of all, that Nigeria is going to even anticipate an intervention in a matter of this nature? Are we trying to intervene to restore corruption? Are we trying to intervene to restore suffering on the masses that are quite jubilant, in high spirits, basking in the euphoria of the relief they've gotten through the easing out of the stranglehold by political overlords, and who are stooges of their French allies in Europe. And now, the people, are we going to love the people? They say, love your neighbor as yourself. Good. Which means if we in Nigeria, we have seen the massive corruption, we have seen the ineptitude, we've seen all the things that the political class is bringing upon the masses. And then another region, another member of the region is emancipating itself from such slavery, and we are going to intervene to restore the evil upon them, then it is ridiculous and it is a shame. And as far as I'm concerned, what we are seeing today, some people will say, okay, because Nigeria president is the chairman of ECOWAS, so he is just trying to play the role of ECOWAS chairman. But he is very, very much uninformed about the dynamics of military intervention. And I'm very sure there's no general among his service chiefs that will advise him to go to war at this point. Because
okay, I'm afraid, Timothy, we're out of time and we have to move on. I would like to say a big thank you to you, Olalekan Efficient, Oladipo, and also Timothy Iwagu, political analyst, for joining us on Politics HQ tonight. Thank you for your contribution and your insights.